It's not just labor policies like the ones we just told you about that are helping to destroy the environment. Ironically, environmentalist policies are too. The very people who push green policies in the name of the environment are often helping to degrade it. If people really want to protect and preserve our environment, they should support conservationists. There's a big difference between the two. Chris Dorsey is a documentary producer and a good friend of mine. He joins us now. Chris, I would imagine you're somewhere in the world, maybe Colorado, maybe on the other side of it right now. But you have a lot to say on this, and explain to us the difference between a conservationist and an environmentalist.
Yeah, Joey, great to see you. Great as always to be with you. What we're really seeing is two different camps now. You've got these Greens that are kind of behind the Green New Deal and $50 trillion in proposed spending in that, and behind killing the Keystone Pipeline, behind things like radical environmental and energy initiatives. And on the other side, you've got the conservation groups that are very pragmatic. They're very driven with success and trying to find solutions on ground. And that's a big differentiator. And these are the folks that understand we need food, fiber, and energy in this country to thrive. So they tend to work with the industry. They tend to work with agriculture to find new and better ways forward. And that's, I think, a very big difference between the two. And at this point, conservationists are looking at environmentalists and saying, we don't want any part of that at all. And they've really become, I think, on the environmental side, kind of an apparatus at this point of the Democrat Party.
You know, conservationists, most of us that are conservationists that spend our own time and money are hunters and anglers. But I just want to point out one group here, and you can speak to this. There are 700,000 members of Ducks Unlimited, and they've conserved 15 million acres of habitat. And they're competing against big ag and big business for that land. It's not like they're just some conservative group.
Well, and not so much competing. I think they're actually coming to the table and saying, look, let's have a better environment. Let's do wonderful things for our groundwater, for our air quality and water quality and soil conservation, things that help agriculture. So they work with agriculture all the time. The majority of habitat that they work on is private lands. So they've got to build bridges to these people if they're going to have success. And DU's been doing it for a long time, and there's no group that's been more successful at it than Ducks Unlimited.
How many environmentalists do you think spend the amount of time in a year with nature and the environment that conservationists or hunters do?
Yeah, there's no comparison. And as you know, the background of conservation in America goes back to Teddy Roosevelt and the 65 million hunters and anglers in America that have contributed tens of billions of dollars over many years. In fact, Joey, this is a group that went to Washington and said, we want to be taxed. We want to create a fund that can be used for habitat conservation so we never have a Dust Bowl again. We never have the dirty 30s again. And that fund now from these two excise taxes has generated more than $20 billion for conservation. And that's to say nothing of billions more for these nonprofit conservation organizations, billions more into private lands management, hunting and fishing license sales, the federal duck stamp program, which of course pays for the National Wildlife Refuge System.
All right, real quick, if somebody doesn't want to hunt and fish, but they want to contribute to conservation, give us a place they can go.
You know, I would buy a hunting license, I would buy a fishing license, I would buy a duck stamp, join Ducks Unlimited, join the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, National Wild Turkey Federation, Wild Salmon Center, Rough Grouse Society. All these groups are working on ground, delivering habitat and making a difference every day.
I'll put those links out on my Twitter later. Chris Dorsey, thank you for joining. Thanks for spreading the good word.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yes, sir.